You've been doing everything they told you to do. You wake up early, visualize your dreams, repeat your affirmations, script your goals, meditate, breathe deep, speak in high vibrations, and remind yourself, I trust the universe. And yet, when you look around, life still feels painfully familiar. New months, same emotions. New intentions, same outcomes. No matter how many times you try to reset, the loop keeps replaying. The same kind of relationships appear, dressed in new faces, but carrying the same lessons. Money comes, money goes. You find moments of hope, but they dissolve into quiet frustration. And deep down, one question keeps echoing louder and louder. What am I doing wrong? Why does life feel like a cycle that never breaks, no matter how hard I try? Here's the truth, and it's not what you think. It's not your fault. It's not because you're unworthy or lazy or not spiritual enough. It's not because you're doing it wrong. It's because of something far deeper. Something beneath effort. It's your frequency. The universe, the quantum field, doesn't respond to effort. It doesn't respond to how many hours you meditate or how intensely you affirm. It doesn't even respond to how desperately you want it. It responds to one thing and one thing only, the signal you broadcast when you're not trying at all. It's the energy that lives in your nervous system, the tone of your thoughts when you're alone at night, the vibration you carry when no one's watching, when you stop performing, when you stop pretending to be aligned. You're not stuck because you're failing at manifestation. You're stuck because you're still radiating the frequency of the version of you you've already outgrown. And until that vibration dissolves, the field, the universe, will keep reflecting it back to you with perfect precision, not to punish you, not out of cruelty, but because it's neutral. It mirrors whatever frequency you embody most often. That's why the same story keeps replaying. You can change the surface, the routines, the rituals, the habits, but until the underlying signal changes, the movie doesn't. You can build new vision boards, read more books, listen to more affirmations, and still feel like nothing's changing. It's not personal. It's physics. You were never taught about this in school. The law of vibrational repetition. Whatever your subconscious mind believes is safe, it recreates over and over again. Not because it's best for you, but because it's familiar. And the universe hears that familiarity as a command. This is what they expect. This is what feels normal. This is the version of reality they've stabilized in. And so reality obeys. You don't manifest from your vision board. You manifest from your nervous system. From the vibration your body emits when you're not thinking about manifesting at all, when you're just living, reacting, feeling, surviving. That's where your true frequency lives, in the spaces between your conscious effort. And that's why cycles repeat. Because even when the outer actions shift, the inner baseline remains untouched. You can chant abundance 100 times a day, but if your body still feels wired for lack, the universe doesn't hear abundance. It hears scarcity and responds accordingly. The field isn't punishing you. It's mirroring you, perfectly, faithfully, coherently, and that mirror isn't here to shame you. It's here to wake you, because that reflection, the one you keep calling stuck, Thomas, is your greatest teacher. It's showing you exactly what vibration you've been unconsciously living in. And once you see it clearly, the loop starts to lose its power. So what if the real work isn't about adding more? Not more affirmations, not more visualizations, not more techniques, but about dissolving the old frequencies that keep looping in the background of your life, like a forgotten code still running behind every thought, because you can't out-affirm your energetic baseline. You can't manifest higher while anchored in the emotional habits of your past. You can't expand into your future self while clinging to the frequency of your old identity. You're not looping because you're not trying hard enough. You're looping because you're still vibrating like the person you used to be. You repeat the same morning rituals, but with the same undertone of fear. You say new mantras, but with the same trace of self-doubt. You take bold new actions, but with the same emotional posture. And the field, this infinite intelligent energy, simply mirrors it back, over and over with flawless precision, because the universe doesn't respond to your wishes. It responds to your identity, and your identity isn't what you say it is. It's what your frequency says it is. It's everything you expect, tolerate, believe, and feel safe holding, especially when no one's watching. So if you want a new life, you have to stop broadcasting the same signal. You must become aware of what you've been unconsciously looping, emotionally, mentally, vibrationally. Otherwise, you're not creating a new reality. You're decorating the old one with shinier words and fancier tools. But once you see the loop, once you can observe it without collapsing into it, you gain the power to step out of it. That's the beginning of a quantum shift. Not forcing a new reality into being, but becoming a new frequency, so that reality has no choice but to reflect it. And that's exactly what this journey is about. In this transformation, you'll uncover how your subconscious mind, your nervous system, and the quantum field work together, how they create echoes of old patterns, and how to finally interrupt them. Because you don't manifest by fighting your reality. You shift by understanding it and then transcending it. Your subconscious mind isn't designed to make you happy. It's designed to keep you safe, and safe doesn't mean fulfilled. It means familiar. It carries every experience, belief, trauma, and emotional pattern you've ever lived through, bundled into an energetic script that keeps replaying. Neuroscientists call them neural pathways, grooves of thought and feeling carved deep into your brain and body through repetition. Your nervous system memorizes those grooves as your baseline. How you react to stress, handle money, experience love, process rejection. They all become automatic, habitual as unconscious, and those unconscious emotional habits generate your vibrational blueprint. The frequency you broadcast when you're not consciously trying to send a signal. Here's the catch. The quantum field responds to that blueprint, not your goals, not your mantras, not your wishes, but your dominant vibration, and most of that vibration is unconscious. It's carried by your body, not your mind, by your feelings, not your affirmations. That's why change feels so hard, because when you try to manifest something new, you're usually doing it from the same subconscious program that built your current reality. It's like trying to write a new story while the old script keeps auto-correcting everything. You type back to the old plotline. Reality is a field of infinite possibilities, a quantum canvas. Every possible version of your life exists as a wave of potential. But those possibilities don't collapse into form until your signal is coherent. Coherence means alignment, mental, emotional, physical, and vibrational unity. Without coherence, your energy is scattered. And a scattered signal cannot override an old, deeply ingrained one. Most people try to change their lives from the neck up, through thought alone, but their bodies are still broadcasting the frequency of the past. Science tells us that 95% of your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are automatic, driven by the subconscious. Only 5% of your energy is consciously creating. The rest is reinforcing what already exists. That's why you can think positive all day and still attract the same type of relationships, the same struggles, the same emotional patterns. Your subconscious hasn't changed its frequency yet, so your conscious focus is on what you want. But your embodied frequency is still entangled with what you're trying to leave behind. The field responds not to what you wish for, but to what you are, and what you are is determined by the patterns you haven't yet interrupted. So what happens when you finally decide to break the pattern? When you stop chasing alignment and start embodying truth? The moment you choose to shift your frequency, truly, deeply, everything you've been suppressing rises to the surface. Not because you're failing, because you're releasing. The field begins to rearrange itself the instant your vibration starts to change. But to align with a higher timeline, the lower one must dissolve. That's when the chaos begins. The people who used to match your energy start to fade. The habits that used to comfort you begin to feel heavy. Opportunities that once excited you suddenly lose their spark. It's not punishment, it's purification. The universe is clearing the static of your old signal, so your new one can broadcast cleanly. But here's the part that breaks most people. That in-between phase, the void, where nothing makes sense anymore. Where the old reality is collapsing, but the new one hasn't yet materialized. It's the quantum silence before manifestation. And it feels like death, because in a way it is. The death of your old self, your old frequency, your old identity. You'll want to run back to the familiar. You'll want to cling to what feels safe. You'll question everything. Am I doing something wrong? Why does it feel worse before it gets better? But that's the sacred test. That's the universe whispering, Hold your frequency. Don't collapse back, because when you stop resonating with your old timeline, you no longer fit in it, and that dissonance is what creates the void. This is where true creators are born, not in the excitement of intention, but in the endurance of transformation. The old self must crumble before the new one can crystallize. The pattern must break before the path can open. And if you can hold your frequency through the uncertainty, versus if you can stay coherent when everything looks like it's falling apart, the quantum field has to reorganize around your new signal, its law. That's when the magic starts to happen, quietly, subtly. Then all at once, a new alignment emerges. Synchronicities begin to appear. A call, a message, a sign that feels perfectly timed. People who match your new energy begin to show up. Opportunities align with breathtaking precision. And what once felt impossible begins to feel natural. Because it is your new natural. You're no longer chasing reality. Reality is orbiting you. You've become coherent, emotionally, mentally, energetically. Your signal is clear, unwavering, magnetic. You're no longer begging the universe to notice you. You've become the vibration that the universe can't ignore. Here's the secret that changes everything. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe you already are. When you say, "I want abundance," the vibration of wanting confirms lack. When you say, "I'm trying to heal," the vibration of trying confirms brokenness. But when you embody abundance, when you feel whole even before the evidence appears, you collapse that potential into reality because the field doesn't understand words. It understands coherence. Every time you choose the frequency of peace over panic, you're reprogramming the field. Every time you choose gratitude over fear, you're teaching the quantum what to stabilize. Every time you choose trust when logic says collapse, you're transmitting a new code. That's embodiment, not pretending, not forcing, not bypassing, but becoming. You stop waiting for proof. You are the proof. And once that identity locks in, the external reality has no choice but to follow. You can't fake coherence. You can't trick the field. But once you genuinely shift your baseline, the universe bends with you. That's the real manifestation. Not getting what you want, but becoming who you were designed to be. The quantum identity think. Of every possible version of you as already existing, each one vibrating at its own unique frequency in the infinite quantum field. There's the version of you that's still chasing, doubting and fearing, and the version that's already living your dream. Fully aligned, abundant, magnetic. You don't need to create that version. You only need to tune into it. Every thought, emotion, and action is a signal. And when your signals match the vibration of that higher self, reality synchronizes instantly. That's why sudden miracles are real. It's not that they appear out of nowhere, it's that your frequency finally matched the timeline where they already existed. So, the real art of manifestation is not chasing outcomes, it's mastering your state. You are the transmitter. Reality is the receiver. The clearer your broadcast, the faster the alignment. That's why people say, "When I finally stopped caring, it happened." Because they stopped broadcasting resistance. They relaxed into coherence. Desperation repels, trust magnetizes. Not because one is morally better, but because they vibrate on different frequencies. The moment you surrender, truly, energetically, you return to your natural rhythm with the universe. And that rhythm is abundance itself. You are not a separate being trying to manipulate energy. You are energy. You are the field, expressing itself as consciousness. Every breath you take ripples through the quantum. Every emotion you feel sends a signal. Every belief you hold becomes geometry in the fabric of space-time. You were never meant to manifest as if life was something outside of you. You were meant to remember that you are life. That's why the greatest power isn't controls, it's remembrance. When you remember who you are, you stop begging reality to change because you understand. You are reality changing. You are the observer and the observed. The wave and the particle. The dreamer and the dream. And the moment you wake up to that, everything you once chased begins to orbit you naturally, because the frequency of truth is magnetic. It doesn't need to prove itself, it simply is. And now this is where the real journey begins. Not in constant effort, but in effortless alignment. Not in chasing highs, but in stabilizing peace. Because once you've touched coherence, your work is no longer to seek. It's to sustain. Your nervous system becomes your compass. Your emotions become your data. Your peace becomes your new normal. You start noticing when your frequency dips, and instead of judging it, you breathe it back into balance. You start catching yourself before reacting, and that awareness itself rewrites the pattern. You start leading your energy instead of being led by it. And day by day, coherence becomes your natural state. You start living not from memory but from possibility. Not from reaction but from creation. This is mastery, and not of the world but of yourself. Because once you master your frequency, reality becomes clay. You'll still face contrast, that's part of the design. But contrast no longer controls you. It becomes feedback, guidance, information. You are no longer the storm. You are the sky that holds it. And from that sky, calm, vast, infinite, everything aligns in divine timing. So here you are, not a seeker, not a victim of fate, but a creator remembering their power. You've walked through the loops, faced the silence, survived the void, and in that stillness, you found something the world can't give you. You found coherence. You are no longer waiting for the universe to choose you. You've remembered. You are the universe choosing itself. From this moment on, every breath, every thought, every heartbeat is a broadcast to creation, and the field is listening. So ask yourself now, what frequency will you choose to send? What identity will you stabilize in this infinite now? Because the moment you decide truly, fully, emotionally, the universe reorganizes itself around that decision. Not in days, not in months, instantly, energetically, undeniably. You don't have to chase alignment anymore. You are alignment. You don't have to beg for your dreams. You are the dream awakening. And as you walk through the world from this knowing, you'll feel it. The effortless magnetism, the synchronicities, the grace. You'll look around one day and realize the reality that once felt impossible is now ordinary. Not because the universe changed, but because you did. And that's the greatest miracle of all.